Hey, this is Magnar, and this is Vae Victis. A second look at our upcoming release for this Friday. In this clip here, I'm going to show you the Greek units and walk you through a bit about our new combat system and our unit stats system. So I've set up a couple of armies. I'm going to do Athens versus the Polybian Romans and fight a battle there. I've tried to make the armies relatively accurate, so not too many cavalry for the Romans. Actually, these guys probably shouldn't have too many either. Now, with the unit stats, well, firstly, the unit names are all in, well, the Greek ones are in Greek, and then you have here the English name of what they are. So we've got the heavy Thurio skirmishers, some light Thurio skirmishers. Same for the Romans. You've got their Latin names and you've got the English equivalent over here. Now with the unit stats, we've done a very probably overly complex system where it's no longer spear beats cavalry, sword beats spear. It's not as simple as that. Our system, the unit stats in our system are derived from the interaction of all different parts of the unit's panoply. So a sword will benefit more from a shield than a spear will benefit from a shield, for example. Because a man with a spear can kind of keep the enemy at bay automatically just because the spear is quite long, whereas a swordsman has to kind of get in to close enough range to be able to use his weapon. So if he has a shield, he can kind of push the enemy's weapon and he can get in close. It allows him to get closer, and therefore it gives a greater bonus to the unit if he has a shield while wielding a sword. Then there are all aspects of the length of the weapon and the mass of the weapon, and how that factors also into how much damage that weapon will do, and a bunch of other stats to do with that weapon, and which all all go through into both the weapon's damage that it will do, and also to how it affects the unit's statistics. Also, the armor will affect the unit statistics as well. Men with heavy armor, we have an encumbrance system, so that men with heavy equipment, especially the armor and the shield, will be weighed down more and therefore will perform worse. So we have it reduces how good these really armored units will be. This is based on some studies. I found some papers that dealt with performance carrying certain amounts of weight, and kind of created some formulas and such to calculate all that for us. So looking at the unit stats and thinking in a very simple set, it's going to be hard to kind of understand why one's got higher attack, one's got lower attack. We also take into account a unit's age. That means an age spread. So we have different variations of age. So a unit may have two parts young, one part middle-aged men to make it, and then the average of all that will get used as the unit's age. And same with all the other things such as culture. So there is a cultural impact. So you'll have, of course, say the nomadic cultures will have greater bonuses to their cavalry, negatives to their infantry. The Greeks will be more defensive. The barbarians will have more attack or more charge. The Romans maybe more morale. I haven't got the exact data on me off the top of my head. But once we finalize the system, I'm looking at releasing the spreadsheet so you can all see what's in it and what affects what. And then you can send back your feedback and say, that's not right. So yeah, then we've also got, so all that comes into play. We've got the shield. The size of the shield determines its chance to block, but it's not just strictly the surface area of the shield. It is there is a limit to it. So if you have a shield which is 3 meters wide, it's going to block missiles just as well as a shield which is 2 meters wide, because it's blocking empty space really. So there is a limit to which diminishing return to that block chance start to occur. For armor, we've broken it all down into, so we've got the helmet, we've got the torso, we've got leg armor and arm armor. and we've broken them down into individual pieces. And then we've kind of got a spreadsheet where we just assign it all to the units. Each piece has a cost, each piece has a mass, and also it has an armor value, of course. And then we add all that up and we get the armor value. It adds to the unit weight, and it also it comes into the unit costing here. So you can see unit cost is very different. We've got our own exact system, so you can see 5. Okay, well this is all fairly. Oh, it's all rounded up to the 5. Okay, I didn't know that. Not sure if that's intentional or not. That maybe it just normally rounds up in the game. Okay, anyway, yeah, we've got a very specific costing to our units, and that's based on the cost that we've assigned to all the weapons and the shields and the individual pieces of equipment. And that's based on, there's not a lot of information, and the information that we have come from all different periods, so some before our mods period, some during, some after. But we kind of just took it from everywhere that we could kind of get it, and then kind of we compared the costs based on the average soldier's salary in that period to get a comparative costing value, and we put it all together. Now the unit cost, the equipment is only a small part of it. You can see cavalry are all very expensive, even if they're lightly armored, because the horse costs are in there as well. Horses were very expensive, and we're reflecting that as well. Elephants, if I'll just start a new faction here and show you the cost of elephants. This probably isn't balanced for multiplayer so much just yet due to the costing. We'll probably have to look at an alternative method of costing for multiplayer, because as you'll see in a sec, elephants, looking at the Carthage, are 6,000. Yes, elephants were very, very expensive. Their upkeep is also insanely expensive. So yeah, we've done it for camels, we've done it for chariots, we've done it for elephants and horses, cataphracts, for everything. Well, not artillery and not ships, but we'll get to that in a future update. So yeah, it's all very detailed and specific what we've done. Unit missile ranges are also impacted by the unit's armor. So a unit with armor won't be able to throw a javelin as far because it won't have that full movement in its body. A unit on a horse also won't be able to throw a javelin as far because they can't take a couple of steps and throw. They're stuck on the horse. Sure, they have the horse's speed, but they can only really use their upper torso. Well, they can use their torso. They can't really use their legs and rotate as much because they've got to worry about their balance on the horse. So there's all these different factors which affect a unit's weapon's range. Not only just the weapon itself, but also the attributes of the unit that's throwing the weapon. That's mostly just for javelins though. So you have the, for instance here we have the Hastati. It doesn't show the weapon's range, but hey, we've got some light ones here. Missile range. We still have to rework these statistic. So this one's 49 meters is the range there. You can see it the second from the top. And the range for the light one, this is actually a different type of javelin, which gets thrown 73 meters. Okay, so let's just jump straight into the battle. I forgot if I'm defending. Okay, I'm attacking. Okay, attacking with the Greeks. We've also linked the unit's encumbrance, which is essentially the mass of the unit's equipment divided by the unit's body mass. Body mass will vary depending on the ethnicity of the soldier. So the Germanic troops will be taller than the Hellenic, and they will be able to carry more weight without being too affected. Okay, so we've got our Hellenian hoplites. Let's check out the hoplites. Now with the hoplites, I've actually got a bodyguard hoplite and a normal hoplite here. Just to show you an example of the shields, which most of them are done by Jade Falcon. I think he did a very, very amazing job. Good job of getting these done. You can see that there's a whole bunch of really nicely detailed and painted shields in there. So this is the epilectoi. This is the general unit for the Greeks, for the Athenians, sorry. The Germans are coming, and a couple of other artists also did a bunch of these different linothorax models. That's each unit. Well, most of the Greek factions have hoplites have unique sets of linothorax. So we'll have a look here. You can see all these different ones on the epilectoi. Oh, sorry, we're over. Okay, epilectoi is finished. So that's all their shields. Now the Athenioi hoplitai have a different set of linothorax patterns. They'll have less bronze scaling and less bronze armor, and their shield patterns will have less bronze in them, more just normal painted shields. Okay, so there's a big chunk of the same shield, but yeah, as you can see, they're fairly similar in their shield patterns. I mean, it is the same culture and they're pretty much the same people, but there's a slight differences there. Possibly a few extra patterns in there which aren't available in the worse unit. But yeah, there's a lot of detail going into them, and each culture will have their own set of shield patterns. In fact, each hoplite unit will have their own set. Okay, so let's set up the battle. So we've got some Boeotian hoplite, pikemen. Put some phalanx on the side. We also have a new unit here which we made a long time ago, but since then the CA has actually added a unit to the Germanic roster, I think, called Horse Runners. We have those both for the Germanics, and we also have them for the Greeks. The Greek one is called the Hamepoi. Let's go take a look at them. Essentially, they've just got a spear, and they're fairly quick, and so they can run behind the cavalry. And they're not used to taking on cavalry head on. They're used for supporting your cavalry. They're fairly cheap units, so you can just chuck them in there to support the cavalry. And so the cavalry will charge in, and these guys will come in behind and take out the enemy cavalry. And that's the whole point of them. If you try to get them to take on the enemy cavalry head on, then yeah, it's not going to really work out too well. Okay, so I'm going to put the general on the right side. I believe the Spartans fought with their general on the right side. I'm not too familiar myself with how the Athenian battle line was set up, so I'm just kind of making it up myself. And I'll put some Theban hoplites. Oh, we've got another hoplite unit to look at. Okay, now we can check out the shield patterns for them as well. And also you can see they're going to have different linothorax models here, some even without. There's some very colourful one there. And you can see all the shield patterns here for Thebes is very different from Athens. So you've got more of this club and some other kind of things, whereas Athens had more ships and the owl and stuff like that. Our lead researcher, Roche, spent a lot of time assigning all the hundreds of shield patterns, well, I think it was just around 200 shield patterns we have in total, to all these different units and finding out which one for which culture. Okay, so let's put our Theban hoplites on the left flank. You can take we haven't yet got into making different cultures for Thebes versus Athens. It's all pretty much the same. Sparta does have their own culture because they were rather different in their military training, but Thebes and Athens and also Epirus have their own, just have the generic Greek one. Crete and Rhodos, they do have their own because they were more into the missiles rather than the hoplites, so they've got more focus on those areas. Now, something which I'm sure is going to raise a lot of questions, and I'll address in this video, is the light Therios and light Peltast versus the heavy Therios and heavy Peltast. They are both... Oh, let's get them out of the grass so we can actually see them. We've got someone working on a new texture here to add a rim to the shield, but that wasn't ready in time. But that will be in a future update. We'll add that in. Okay, so these are your heavy Therios. They are not meant to have armor. And these are the light Therios, which look fairly similar, and they are also not meant to have armor. The difference here is that the heavy Therios will have a much heavier, shorter ranged projectile, whereas the lighter ones will have more of a lighter javelin, which can be thrown further, but not as much damage. See, 75 versus 56. So you get these guys in, they can take out the heavy units nice and close, as well as the cavalry, and especially the elephants. These guys are kind of throwing it from further away, and that is the major distinction between them. They have a little more armor here. Where's the armor? Okay, 10 versus 5. So they have a little bit more armor, but it's not significant. The other difference is the melee weapon that they use. So the melee weapon of the heavy Therios, they use a launch, whereas the light Therios will use an actual spear. So they have a longer, heavier spear, but a lighter melee weapon, missile weapons, and these guys have the same missile weapon as they do use for a melee weapon, which is the launch. So there's a bit of variety there. You can use it to different ones depending on what you're fighting against in the situation. Okay, so let's set it up. Get the cavalry. Let's get one of each on each flank. I probably have too much cavalry in this army for a Greek army. I think 4 is probably too much. I'll put the Hamiopoi, because we've got our bodyguard on the right flank. I'll put the Hamiopoi on there as well, so that if there's any cavalry there, we can take them out fairly quickly and flank around. And then of course we have just the generic Greek slinger unit here as well. Okay, let's get into the battle. So I'm not going to form up the battle line just yet. Just going to move them up out of formation. See here they're carrying their pikes when they run. I've actually, I think I've got to change that animation because they should have a shield, but it's not showing up when they walk. I'm aware of it, and it is something on our list of things to fix in a future update. Another big difference in what we've done in this mod is that we've taken away all AP damage. Pretty much, not all, but the majority of AP damage has been removed. And we've replaced it with bonus versus infantry, which has also been significantly reduced, but we've taken the AP and we've moved it into the bonus versus infantry, bonus versus cavalry, etc. So a spear unit will have more bonus versus cavalry, a sword unit will have more bonus versus infantry. And the reason we did that is because the bonus versus infantry, bonus versus cavalry, bonus versus elephants or whatever, they are the same as AP damage to those types of units. And it allows us to differentiate more between the different weapons rather than just having a generic AP damage. So when you see it, if you see it in the stats here, we'll probably have to move it in there in the future, then that's what it is. That's why it's there. We also have side weapons. So the hoplites always had a side sword. So when the enemy got close, they would of course ditch their doru or dore, and they would switch to their sidearm. So we reflect that in our system. So there might not be much difference between someone who has, say, a dore and a Xiphos or whatever falcata or copus or whatever the sword that they got as a side weapon versus, say, someone who's using a javelin. Sorry, another type of side weapon. Okay, you can see the pikemen are much slower. Let's form up our formation here before they get to the line. Formations now give a negative to all your stats while you were forming them. So you should always form them before you get to the line. Oh, cavalry are getting in there. Let's go and take them out. So not cavalry, they're the missile units. So we've got to get them out of the way first. How are we looking here? Okay, let's get rid of these velites. You've seen the Roman units in the last episode, so I'm not doing too many zoom-ins on the Romans. Okay, so we've engaged the cavalry. We can use our Hemiopoi now to get in there and help them out. We don't want to get our cavalry stuck in there though. The cavalry for the Greeks are all fairly lightly armoured. Some have, well, you've got these later citizen cavalry with the linothorax on, but the earlier citizen cavalry, which aren't in this battle, would not have, they'd be much more lighter units, more like the Hippotoxo. Another big important change that we've done is that units will reform a lot. So if I let this unit here go, which I will, just to prove my point, they will reform for sure. Okay, let's check out the pike phalanx. So we want the pikes to be holding back the enemy pretty well, but not killing him too fast. And check that out. There they are. Oh, they're kind of getting in there now a little bit, but they're holding them at bay there. They're doing pretty well, I think. They're kind of pushing them back, but they're not killing them too quickly. So there's a nice distance there between the pikes. It makes them very hard to kill from the front. Okay, what's happening here? Oh, our cavalry maybe are losing. Let's get them out of there. What do we got here? So we've got some Principes. So let's move these guys back, get some missiles up the Principes. We've got a bit of a mess happening here. What's happening? Yeah, let's go help them out. So the Hemiopoi are engaged now with the enemy cavalry. They didn't take the charge, because if they took the charge, they'd be pretty much destroyed. They haven't got a shield or much weight to kind of brace against the cavalry charge. But they're kind of doing all right. For such a cheap unit against such an expensive unit, they're killing almost 1-to-1, or 1-to-2 or something. But that's, for a cheap unit, I think that's pretty good. And they've got them to rout, which is also great. So we've won the right flank, and now we can start to move these units around there. You can see also that our camera goes in further than vanilla, and it comes out further than vanilla, much further. It gives you a better overview. That's one of the other changes to our battle. So I'm letting those Hemiopoi chase after these cavalry here. They won't catch them because cavalry are still faster than the Hemiopoi, the horse runners, but the horse runners are still very, very quick nonetheless. Okay, so we've got no more ammunition left. Let's just charge into the back of them. Morale is very important. One of the big features with morale is that units, they need to have guys on their flanks to support them. This unit here, which is all on its own, is going to be routing much quicker. Well, in this case, there's two of them, but still, they've got open flanks, and that's not good news for their morale. So they're going to rout a lot quicker than they would in vanilla, just because of the open flanks, not because. So you've got to protect your flanks a lot more. In the center, they'll hold quite nicely. The general here also adds a huge bonus to the unit morale. So you have to kind of move your general around strategically so that. Okay, what's happening here? Oh, their cavalry are there. Let's charge in and help out. You have to move strategically your general around to kind of support your lines. It's another part of the strategic side of it. Okay, so our cavalry are losing here, which they should, because cavalry are not made in this mod to engage in long, drawn-out engagements. They are there to charge in, break the morale, and get out. Cavalry never were very good at long, drawn-out combat. Got to keep them on the move. They'd get in, throw their spears off, and then, yeah. Now you can see here one of the units from the AI has already regrouped, and probably a few of them actually, and they're all coming back into the battle now. Another one over here. This will happen a lot, and you can have a large part of the army actually rejoining the battle. Okay, so we've beaten their cavalry. I'm going to let them go again, just to highlight the regrouping, the reforming aspect of this morale system. Now let's get the lighter units ready for a flank. Oh, we've actually already. Okay, let's just use the hoplites to do it. How am I gonna? Let's do control. What are we doing here? What are they doing? I think they're getting hit by... Oh, they're getting hit by the skirmishers. Okay, let's go do something about that. In Hoplite Phalanx, now there's a much bigger bonus against missiles, so you can throw missiles, fairly light slings at them all day, and it won't have too much of an impact. Okay, should be able to take out those generic Hoplite. Now the Hopio Hamipoi, look at that, they killed 24 and lost 20. I think that's a pretty good investment for a unit that was only costing like 170. In melee with the infantry, they're not going to be anywhere near as good. So they're probably going to take a lot more casualties there. So after a lot of battles, look at that. The pikes have absolutely destroyed them. Front on, which they pretty much should. Getting into through a pike formation would be very, very difficult. Now I haven't touched the pikes. They just stayed in their formation nicely and pretty much won the battle there in the middle. Go pikes. Okay, now we're winning everywhere else as well. Great. Now, as I said, I might not have said actually, missile damage for javelins is much more damaging now. All missiles have much worse accuracy, so your chances of hitting is much lower. But the damage, especially with javelins, when they hit, is much higher. So it's pretty much a one-hit kill if you don't hit them in the shield. Also, they knock units back now, so we're going to check this out now. Can we see how... No, he's not quite there yet. Okay, let's fire at these guys and we can check out a volley of... These are heavy javelins. These are longshas. They're like, 2 meters long or something like that. Oh, what are these guys doing? Come on. So, and they've got a bit decent weight to them, so they're going to have a bit of an impact when they hit. Oh, it's because I had this run away. They can't get too close. Oh, this is kind of... Okay. Now we'll throw. Okay, let's check out a volley here from these guys. You'll see guys go flying because they're hit with a fairly heavy, large object. Of course, you're not going to just fall over. You're going to go a bit of a fly. And it kind of destroys from the back where there's no way of protecting. They get smashed. Yeah. They can be very devastating, as you can see there. And if you're not using your shield and you can't see them to get away from them and they're short range, well, the short range means they're much more accurate. And that's the effect. Wow. Destroyed them there. Okay, so we're charging in. And that should pretty much take care of the rest of the Romans. Oh no, they've reformed, I think, and they've come back in on the right flank again. I've not really done much maneuvering here. I've kind of just let it be a straight line and go for it from there. Ooh. My cavalry, I guess, didn't take them out. Let's try again, shall we? Okay, now we're going to take him out. Although the bar doesn't say we're winning. Another thing here you can see is we've got this UI. This is mostly from, this is mostly from Grudge the Dutchman. His UI mod. I think we made the borders thinner. But apart from that, it's pretty much all him. We've got a bunch of other UI stuff which has also been added from our new one of our new members who's focusing on UI, and there'll be a lot more of UI stuff coming. His stuff's more focused around politics and such, so we've got some new politics screens in there as well. So no more just semicircle, we're going to have something a bit more culturally reflective. But I'll show you them in probably the next episode when I go into some campaign stuff. They've got their velites there. Okay, let's send in the light. Therios. Okay, let's stop them from coming back and just finish them off for this battle. Another thing, which I don't think I've touched on yet, is unit health. You can see in the unit stats here, the health. It is very small variations in health. The main it's mostly just based on, well, of course, people on horseback are going to have the horse's health added in there as well. But the main difference in a unit's health when it's just the man is his socio-economic standing, and that just generally means that he's eating better food, or on average probably healthier food, less malnourishment in his life. So he'd probably have a bigger build, a bit taller, and he will be able to therefore have a little bit more, take a bit more of a hit. Oh, getting charged by their general. Now the reason these hoplites and everything was able to hold out so well is because the Romans attacked at the front, and the hoplite formation is very strong at the front. Especially in our mod, it's even stronger in our mod. At the back, though, it is weaker than in vanilla. So the hoplites in this mod have greater strength at the front, greater weakness from behind. So exploit that if you need to, if you're fighting against the Greeks. The front on assault is doomed to fail, as you can see here. Okay, let's keep this flanking maneuver going. Take out the next unit. When this general goes, I imagine their whole army will go. Yeah, that's another part with the general. In vanilla, if the AI losses general or the player losses general, you'd have this large penalty hanging over your whole army for the rest of the battle. Now with this mod, the penalty is more temporary. So if you kill someone's general, you need to take advantage of that quickly. You can't just, let it go and expect it to have a lasting effect. Because if the army stays fighting, yeah, they've got that initial shock of the general dying, but if they're staying there and fighting an hour later after the general falls, the general's death isn't that much of an issue anymore. It's more just only that initial shock that the general is dead that gives you the option to break the enemy. So now I've just got the general to run away. Also, a running away general probably has should have a more of an impact than a general that is killed. Okay, so their general, the Polybian general, has defeated the, light cavalry? Yep, the light cavalry, as they should be expected to do. Charge in there. So now I've got these hoplites fighting out of formation. Out of formation means they'll do more damage, but have less chance to hit, lower defense and such things. Here you can see they're going to have much higher defense. They're going to have, the melee attack is higher, melee attack being the chance to hit, but their damage is lower. That's because they're more restricted in how far outside they can go to take advantage of their of the enemy's openings. They can't go too far away from the formation or they jeopardize the formation, so that's reflected by a reduced damage by units in these strict formations like hoplite phalanx and pike phalanx. They get a very reduced amount of damage that they can do. Now these triarii are really holding out. And these cavalry as well. So the length of a battle is variable. We try to aim for about 15 minutes is probably our goal. But of course, that all depends on the types of units being used. There you go. The general runs away, and there's enough other things which are going on which have just made them completely rout. So that's the end of that battle. Heroic victory. Yay! Alright, thanks for watching, and in the next episode I will go through the campaign and some of the changes there, UI and some other things that we've added there. So check back tomorrow, I should have that up, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.